Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. McClever Thoughts Podcast with Punchie Man. How y'all doing this on this beautiful Sunday morning? We would say on this beautiful Sunday morning. Man, there's a lot been trends. It's a lot been, what they say transpiring throughout the week. A lot of different events been going on. Some good, some um I don't want to say bad, but just make you think. A lot of different events that's been taking place. It's been taking a place, over this week, weekend, however you may want to look at it. First thing I want to do is I want to pretty much present something to y'all. I do like little reviews on things, and this not really a review. I'm not getting paid for it, but it's just I think it's more so geared around my, I would say my mental health. These are the things that I do to stimulate my mind, and I like I said, I like to share those things with you. So one thing that I want to present to you is something that been really, really good for me, and just helping me, be calm, cool, collective, even excited, even it's something that really that I can sit back, and when I had a long day, I can really just enjoy. Um, I ain't gonna lie, it's like being a kid again, and y'all know how I feel about being a kid again, because I think that's the key to longevity. That's the right now. That's our fountain of youth. um, Doing things that remind you of how you had fun when you was a kid, or how you had no worries when you was a kid. One of those things that I was into was video games, and I know a lot of guys and maybe some girls can agree on this. Video games for us was very good. It was a plus when Atari came out, when Nintendo, especially now I'm gonna say when Nintendo came out. Nintendo was like the savior for every young kid out there, man. Sega Genesis was all right, but when that Nintendo came out, man, that was like a game changer. So those were the things that kept our minds occupied. To be honest with you, those are the things that helped us out with our critical thinking, even in school, and with our assignments and things like that, things of that nature. It helps us because it opened our minds. We had to in video games, you always going through challenges. You have to adjust yourself. Like you may beat this board, or a couple of boards the same way, but then may come to a board where you may have to adjust, your skills, or adjust your I would say your strategy for how you was, playing the previous boards. So it's one of those things that's always opening your mind, that's keeping you, what I'm saying, your brain working, it's your brain exercising. So, and that's good for you because that helps you out with being a creative thinker. It helps you out with being a creator altogether. I think a lot of people have sat back and came up with wonderful ideals that became successful for them because of these handheld like video games. And this is the one I want to show everybody is Anbernic RG Cube XX. And I'm this time I'm gonna put the links in the description. You know what I'm saying, of where or what this is. I would say I'm gonna put this what this is in case you want to go look this up. Now this come from a Chinese company, and they come in all different type of ways. You know what I'm saying? So this is like real good. You have to download your own games on it. Some of them come with games. This came with its own game, but I had to download games on the SD card with it, which is even in its own self is something that's challenging. But at the same time, once you accomplish that challenge, you're gonna be happy, man, that you did something that was possibly some people probably even never thought they could do, or it gives you more familiar with the internet. That's how I seen it. Like, because this is something that's new. I think they've been out like the last past 2-3 years. So along with other bigger, PC gamings, but those things are good, man, for like downtime, relaxing, things of that nature. So cock you one if you want one. It's like I said, it's good for mind stimulation, good for long road trips. Trust me. People who I know got these types of things, they appreciate them, man. So, definitely, look into, the Anbernic, line of handheld games. And they got other companies like Pile Kitty. Like I said, they got one bigger PCs, handheld PCs like the Steam Deck, and they got an OLED with an OLED screen, and they got the Retro Pocket 5. They got a lot of different these type of devices. So if you're interested, I'm gonna definitely give you the name of that. But just look up handheld games, and you're gonna get a variety of them on Google. So definitely look into it. Also, y'all new YouTube subscribers, hit that button, for likes. Y'all hit the subscribe buttons. Y'all tell y'all friends about this wonderful information and positive enlightenment that I provide, so we can build this nice, beautiful community moving forward. One of the things that stood out to me this weekend was, the when I heard last night was the dude who pretty much unalived George Floyd. They're talking about Donald Trump is maybe pardoning this guy. And it seemed like it's more of a Elon Musk type of thing, because I think Elon Musk the one addressed it. So a lot of people is in uproar about that. But it's a lot of people that's saying, hey, don't let them trick us out of our spot, man. Don't let them, get us all riled up, because even if they do that, don't let them trick us out the spot and get us all riled up and start protesting, so they can start doing, I think the lady was saying, martial law. So that's something to think about, people. And I think in my previous, in my earlier podcasts, I talked about, the Civil War thing. Like it's almost like you always hearing something that's surrounding that type of, energy. And we don't want to feed into it, because when it really hits the fan, everybody is not prepared for that. Everybody is not made for that. You know what I'm saying? And it has no particular color for it. But we don't want drama. We don't want that, because for the simple fact that hurts a lot of our loved ones. Everybody can't make it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't protect themselves. It's easy for you that can protect yourself to say, well, bring the smoke. But think about the person that can't protect themselves. Think about your grandmas. Think about your granddads. Think about your uncle. Think about your good old cousin. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't made like that, cut from that cloth to go out there and just be a warrior. So we have to be mindful who it affects. It don't just affect you, it affects your loved ones too. And you have to be strategic in that mind, in thinking that this is gonna benefit society the way that you may want it to, with providing aggression. And we don't need that. We definitely don't need that. And that's what the people, I guess, in Minnesota or in those surrounding areas is trying to get those people in those areas to understand. Because once you open up that gate, they basically saying you're going to give the government, you know what I'm saying, authority to literally want to sabotage, you know what I'm saying, black communities. You're going to get the government the right to, just go ham and have that control that they're seeking from, black people. And that's what a lot of people are saying. It can be a strategic, plan on Elon Musk and Donald Trump them side, where they make it seem like they giving Buddy that pardon and actually put him in a position to where he has to go to the state prison where it's actually going to be rougher. It's going to be tougher in the state prison. So, and if I was listening to some YouTubers and that's what they were speaking on. They were speaking on like, okay, yeah, even if you get him pardoned from the federal prison, he still has to go to the state prison and do his time. So that's was something that was interesting to me because I thought, before hearing that, once the president give you pardon, you pardon from everything. That's what I thought. But from their collective information, they were saying that once if the guy that unalived George Floyd, if he did get pardoned, he still has to go do state time in the state prison in Minnesota. So that was interesting to know. So, what are your thoughts on that? Give me your honest opinion. Leave the comments down there below. Yeah, so, but we are in some troubling times, man. Like, we have to understand that, life is changing. I think a lot of people, especially after the COVID, a lot of people thought it was going to go back to how it was or get better. And it ain't seeming that way. It ain't looking like that. So, it's just pay attention to your resources. That's what I would say. Pay attention to your resources. Pay attention to how you invested in yourself more than ever right now. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention to your security. Pay attention to, the things that matter. Pay attention to what collects value and pay attention to what depreciates and separate the two. And in business, always understand it's personal and it's business and never mix the two. And that's what we have to be at right now. You have to be firm with yourself. You have to be your own disciplinarian. And that's not easy because you have distractions, you have attractions. And all those things are not always feasible and influential to your life. So be mindful, be very mindful. And I always hear me use this word mindful of the energy you're putting out there into the universe. Be mindful of the changes in our society. Be mindful of the moves you make, because you have to be conscious of your decision making right now. You can't. It's not good just to be a head first person, and nothing right now. Today's time, you cannot be a head first person because you got to think about it. Everybody, all things that you attracted to, don't always have your best interests. It's not always in just because it's just like I said with people. You got people that act like they're your friends, but they really your enemies. So you have to really understand that, you can't give. It's a setback. And that's what I learned. Like the more you're in positions with life where it's not in your favor or it's definitely going against you, and if you catering to it, it becomes a setback. Because you got to restructure your brain, you know what I'm saying, to even get out of that mindset that you was drawn to, whatever you was drawn to, that didn't work for you. You gotta restructure yourself. Then when you restructure your whole brain to get away from that, you gotta try to find things that you may not even know that really puts you in a position to move forward in life or to be successful in life, so you don't go back in doing those same old things or being attracted to those things. And those things are not easy because I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of our wants are more attractive than our needs. And that's real. So that's what makes it not easy. But maturity, and that's what I'm learning, maturity is literally saying, you know what, I may want to go to the club, I may want to hang out at the festival, I may want to be with the boys, but I gotta make sure these bills paid. And the way things looking right now, I can't do that, what I want to do with the boys and going to the festival and all the other extracurriculum. That's a positive, influential, big person decision that you had to make that you will later on not regret. You'll be happy you made that decision. Because at the end of the day, it's about longevity. Staying afloat, continuing to be straight, I think the person who can say, Man, I ain't got to worry about this. I ain't got to worry about that, because they put themselves in the right position. They did what they were supposed to do. They made certain sacrifices towards they need, for their needs over their wants. Shit, that's the person right now ain't panicking. That's the person right now. You know what I'm saying? They already done thinking 10, 15, 20 years ahead. So they already seeing. Matter of fact, they more happy with themselves because they saying, I knew this was gonna happen. Those are those people. Them people who say, I told y'all it was gonna happen. Those people are the ones that's doing good right now. You know, I ain't saying every single one, because you got some people just like to prove the information and knowledge that they have. I'm talking about the ones that literally was telling you step for step what they was doing to prepare for these times. When they say, I told y'all they was gonna happen, y'all know those people straight. Y'all know, because y'all seen the steps that they was making preparing for this time. And see, that's what a lot of people got to be at right now. Count your costs. Yeah, you may want to go on a $20,000 trip, but guess what? You need that $20,000 5 years from now. You have to see it like that. I'm gonna need this $20,000 5 years from now. I can't go on this $20,000 trip right now. It ain't the time. Even though you got it and you're not at a point. No, some people are conscious enough to know right now is not time to be spending no major money. Only on the things that you really need, not what you want. So yeah, that's something that, we have to take, strong consideration at these point in time. Preparation, prepare yourself. However you got to do that. Some people gonna prepare themselves with transportation. Some people gonna prepare themselves with housing, shelter. Some people gonna prepare themselves with food. However you need to prepare yourself right now, prepare yourself. Because if you see the writing on the wall, do not ignore it. And that goes for every single human being in this world. Do not ignore it. Man. So I want to talk about the young man T. Higgins, man, and his story was unique to me. He was considered one of the best receivers in the free agency, NFL free agency this offseason. And what made his story stick out, because he literally fired one of the best agents in the NFL game today. And he chose to be with Jamar's Chase agent. And from what I'm hearing, it was the reason because it wasn't about him receiving the most money that he can possibly receiving. It was about him being in a place that he was happy being in. It was about him being around guys that he had a family relationship with. It was about him and the chemistry that he already had established, entering into the NFL, or being in the NFL, I think for the last 5-6 years. So that right there showed me like so much brotherhood. And from what I'm not mistaken, Jamar Chase and him like almost had like this agreement where if Cincinnati couldn't sign one without the other. You know what I'm saying? So that was amazing to me. And it took me back to when I was growing up watching football. You seen cats stayed on the same team, man, for 10, 15 years, man. So that's how we associated that team. Like, Emmitt Smith is a Cowboy. Troy Aikman is a Cowboy. Steve Young is a 49er. Jerry Rice is a 49er. Like we associated players, you know what I'm saying, with the team. And we held that to a higher standard, I never looked for Jerry Rice to, play for the 49ers, and once his contract up, I didn't see, and maybe I was a child, but consciously, I wouldn't wrap my head around Jerry Rice being like a Philadelphia Eagle. I didn't wrap my head around, Steve Young being a, Cleveland Brown, or Joe Montana. Even when Joe Montana left the Chiefs, he was definitely like 12 years with the 49ers. So yeah, that's understood once, if a person get to a certain age. But football then, I think, was like more of, we're gonna work, we're gonna build this system, and we're gonna keep this system. As to football now is, we can have anybody play in our system. And it's just the only way that I can put it. But then it also showed me with the T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, because both of them are number one receivers. T. Higgins could have got number one receiver money anywhere else. Jamar Chase could have left and went anywhere else and got number one receiver money. Or like he was doing, could have just stayed where he was at and just, said, no, I want a bigger deal, than anybody, than any receiver in this, in this league. But no, them boys, brotherhood was more important than money. And, people was kind of trying to come at T. Higgins about that, and it wasn't about that. It was about literally love, man. I would say, T. Higgins, your mama raised you right, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, take care of her, bro. Like you said you was going to do. She raised you right, bro. And that's where we at right now. Sometimes you got to do it for love. You can't just do it for money. Sometimes you got to do it for your heart. You know what I'm saying? Because your heart is just good. Your heart is just amazing. You're an immaculate person. That's what you got to do it for. You can't do it for money all the time. You got to do it for, because we want to keep the house built. We want to keep the house strong. And that's their house. Cincinnati Bengals is their home that they building. Them people got a chance to make history. And when they turn 50, 60 years old, go back to that. So I'm liking players that's actually, wanting to stay where they, started at. Shouts out to the kid from Philadelphia Eagles. He did that, And then my homeboys always arguing, talking about he ain't no number one receiver, he's number two. He's a great contributor. He still can be a number two on anybody's team. That's a great contributor. You know what I'm saying? So it regardless. And that team know that. He could have went somewhere else and got bigger money. You know what I'm saying? More money. So, I applaud the guys that stay on that one team for 10 years and 11 years and finish their careers out, And no shade to the guys who love playing football. Some guys who love playing football and the team don't want them. So they say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go to another team. So ain't no shade on that. So, but I do applaud T. Higgins for making that decision that he made, man. And I kind of look at it from, everybody don't want to be kings. Some people just happy. Some men just happy with just being noble. You know what I'm saying? And I stated that in another one of my podcasts. Some people just happy with being noble. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't want to be kings. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to be honest with you. Kings go through some shit. You know what I'm saying? Most kings are either trying to be killed or, they got to worry about their wife poisoning them. They got to worry about their sons trying to take them out. They got to worry about... These are Kings movies I've seen. And when I look at history, that's what you hear. You know what I'm saying? So kings got a lot to go through. You know what I'm saying? And a lot to maintain. We're talking about kingdoms. You're talking about they responsible for a whole lot of people. There's a whole lot of people don't like they dictatorship. You know what I'm saying? But a noble man, ain't too many noble men ain't love. You know what I'm saying? And when they do go through beef, say, hey man, they standing on business because at the end of the day, they noble about what they do. You know what I'm saying? They ain't for the disrespect when they very respectful. You know what I'm saying? So, noble men are men that are honored and cherished and don't have those issues because they don't have those responsibilities or they're not looking for those responsibilities that the king seeks. Most kings seeks those responsibilities because in most situations a king became a king because he got another king out of them. So they looking for that power. And y'all know how I feel about looking for power. Be anointed with it, but to look for it, I think that's just not a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to understand, when you're looking for it, you no longer in control. The power controls you. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what you selling your soul to. You selling your soul to that power because that's what you're seeking. When you're willing to do whatever it takes to have that power. So that's what you're selling your soul to, power. So, and I'm going to leave y'all with this. This is a topic that me and my friends and I done talked to a lot of people about it, and I definitely understand the different responses from it. But what it does for me, it expresses how much love you have for something or someone. I'm gonna say someone because it ain't about something. It's I can say it can be something that someone does to you to make you feel that way, to make you love them the way that you love. Well, the question I have been asking my friends, and I've been seeing this pop up on YouTube a lot, and it's just food for thought. If it came to a situation where you had to save your child or your significant other, and mind you, you love both of these people, you are moved and motivated, you are encouraged by the love of these people, that's how we're gonna see it. Who would you save first? And when I ask this question, and of course most people say, morally speaking, you're supposed to save your children. And I also seen that question being answered more from people who just had love for their children, or who had a great who didn't really have the best relationship with the people that they had the children from. You know what I'm saying? So of course I feel like they're gonna be more lean to saving their kids, because naturally you love your kids and you love your kids wholeheartedly, and it's definitely understood. But I also heard people say, well, they would say they significant others because they can always make another child. But then I also tell people, I can also see why people would say their significant other. You take somebody who done growed up with their significant other. I'm talking about they've been around them since they've been a child. Their relationship been, high school, middle school, they've been together. They know, they done went through their ups and downs, they still together. No, whatever they went through, nothing can't break that bond. You know what I'm saying? I can see that man, or I can see that woman saving their significant other. That's their best friend. And they couldn't even live on this earth at peace with themselves, knowing that that person is not right there by their side. So I can see that, I can see that man being that man stuck in that room, and his kids saying, daddy ain't been the same since mama gone. Or I can even see that woman, frustrated, oh, why you save me and didn't save the kids? And I can see his response is, baby, because I can't live without you. I'd rather you go through what you going through. I'd rather you go through the depression, and I'm here for you. Cause that's me being here for you. I'm happy to have you in my life. But to have you not in my life, I don't know if I can make it in this world. So I can see that person saving that woman. But it's no wrong or right answer to this question. What this question does for me, it just expresses the love that you have for whoever you would save. It expresses, why that person make you feel the way you feel, and why you make those, like why a father make the sacrifices today for his children, why a mother make the sacrifices today for her children. That's what it expresses to me, So that's just food for thought. Again, I want y'all to really think about that. And like I said, it's no wrong or right answer to it. But I want you to realize why you love the way you love. Or I want you to realize why you need to love the way you should love. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that opens our minds up. These are the things that feed our brains, our soul. So I want everybody to continue to have a wonderful weekend. If you're not having a wonderful weekend, pray about it. Put it in God's hands. You know what I'm saying? And try to find as much peace as you possibly can. Y'all remember my motto, pray for me, not pray on me. Have a wonderful weekend, YouTube. See y'all next week.